And welcome back. President Obama's re-election team continues to focus on Mitt Romney's record at Bain Capital, claiming he destroyed jobs instead of creating them.
What Bain Capital never did was focus on job creation. That's not what Bain Capital does. It loads up companies with debt. It takes money out of those companies and pays those investors. It's not about job creation. And that's what Mitt Romney is running on. And look, we've seen this experiment in Massachusetts. He did the same thing when he ran in 2002 in Massachusetts and took that state's job creation numbers to 47th in the country.
But should the Obama campaign really be criticizing Romney's economic record when the president's presiding over a soaring deficit? Our Washington insiders are here this morning to talk about this in a fair and balanced debate. Ford O'Connell is a Republican strategist and chairman of the Civic Forum PAC. And Penny Lee is with Venn Strategies and a former political advisor to Senator Harry Reid. They both join us this morning from Washington. Guys, nice to see you this morning.
Thank you for having us on, Clayton.
You bet. Ford, let me start with you this morning. Do you agree with Robert Gibbs there?
Well, I agree with Robert Gibbs in the sense that how Romney handles the Bain situation is probably going to decide who sits in the White House in 2013. That said, though, it's extremely hypocritical. And Obama's Bain attacks really show a lack of understanding about how free enterprise and the economy work. What Mr. Gibbs fails to comprehend is that you do not have job creation unless you have profit making. I don't care whether you open a lemonade stand or you're running Staples. If you do not turn a profit, you don't add jobs. And it's pretty hypocritical given that this administration doesn't have one net job and is piling on $1.5 trillion in debt with no plan to pay it down. So keep doubling down on Bain.
Penny, is that right? I mean, is it hypocritical? After all, the president also holding fundraisers with private equity firms, on the one hand taking money from private equity, on the other hand criticizing Bain Capital.
It's not hypocritical at all, and the president is going to be held accountable for his record. I mean, that's what this election is going to be about. But we're at a real critical time right now, and I think the president is absolutely right to make sure that people understand what exactly happened at Bain Capital, or what the tenure of Mitt Romney's term was, and that was, it was a wealth creator. For him to go out and say that he created 100,000 jobs is just patently false. And so at this critical time where you're trying to not only define yourself, but you also define your opponent, now is the time that they need to call that record out on the carpet. And that is exactly what the president is doing with these ads and with other folks.
Well, Penny, let's talk about the record, because Republicans also trying to paint the president, and not having to do much of a difficult job with that, is calling him the debt president. And according to CBS, the debt increase will be 87%, or $9.34 trillion. And the president's amount of debt up to upwards of $15 trillion, a lot of that on his watch.
And the president has laid out a plan to get rid of that deficit. He's in his latest budget, he has put out a thoughtful plan to reduce that budget by $4 trillion. So he has put out a plan in there. He inherited an absolute mess, as we've all talked about this before, where he had to put in some stimulus measures. He had to put in some measures.
Ford, I'll give you the final word.
If Mitt Romney wants to win this Bain argument, he will paint himself as a turnaround artist who's adept at cleaning up messes. President Obama inherited a bad situation, but the bottom line is he has made the situation much worse.
Ford O'Connell, Penny Lee, thank you so much for coming in on this Memorial Day. We appreciate it.
Happy Memorial Day to you.
Thank you.